Australian as they come, that's Holden.
The long journey of Holden is truly a South Australian success story. From the leatherwork and saddlery business set up in Adelaide by James Holden in 1854 to the last car about to come off the production line this Friday. It's a history spanning 163 years. The Holden era has left an indelible mark both physically and culturally on the national landscape and our mindscape. Its entree into the modern world came with the licence to build bodies for American and European marques, which led to the establishment of the Woodville plant in 1924. The company logo was the famous lion and the stone, symbolising the boldness of invention.
4 out of every 5 new passenger cars bought in Australia have bodies made in Australia, most of them in Adelaide.
2 decades on, and the staggering industrial capacity driven by the Second World War inspired the idea of a post-war car entirely mass-produced in Australia. The short list of names for this new creation included Canberra, GMH, Gem, Lion and Holden. The dream became a reality in 1948 with the first Holden, later known as the FX, appearing on Australian roads.
More than 130 Australian-made cars coming off the production line every day.
It was the beginning of a love affair which embodied the nation's egalitarian spirit, a car for every man that every family could afford, and the legend took hold. In 1955, an entire city was built in Adelaide's north to accommodate the new Holden factory. Generations of South Australians would come to owe their livelihoods to the lion and the stone.
In General Motors Holden's plant in Adelaide, over 6,500 are employed in almost 2 million square feet of factory space.
The models rolled on. At one point, the company was responsible for 60% of all cars exported abroad.
On the teeming streets of other cities of the Orient, Holden is also well known and is most often referred to as the car from Australia.
But there were also rivals. Chrysler, which had been around for many years, built its own Aussie car, and their powerful engines threw down the gauntlet at Holden's feet. But the real challenger was Ford. It meant Aussie's love of a fair dinkum contest was played out in the sales rooms, lunch rooms and racetracks in every corner of the country.
This is part of the DNA of Australia. It's the social fabric of Australia. Has been the Ford versus Holden, Collingwood versus Carlton, Labor versus Liberal, all that stuff. It's a big part of the culture of this country.
So what happens now? The workers will retire or find other pursuits. But what about the rest of us without the pride of producing the last century's icon of industrial success? Are we somehow less than we were? Part of the deal for GMH to invest in SA was to tear up the tram lines to encourage people to buy cars. We are now doing the very opposite. We'll move on, perhaps we already have. Everything must end.
I think one door closes and another opens. You always have to think positively about it.
It'll never be the same. You'll never see the days that we've been through back in Elizabeth.
But celebrating what we've achieved is still in order.